like we're getting ready to get started here.
Yep, and it looks like there is a sword in the cave.
And it looks like so far not a shuffled overworld. But definitely got the first the sword start here, which is nice.
It is, and enemies are shuffled. It's not 0 HP enemies, which is a nice thing here. I am not. I see an Onion Knight moving around.
Yeah, I've got an Onion Knight. He is substantially farther ahead than Johann is on my stream, but
I have no good way to tell if these guys are synced up or not. Awesome. Yeah. And both players losing money to the evil door repair guy.
yeah, fortunately not having too much to begin with already. So running into those early and often is always a bonus before you run into the secret caves.
Oh, interesting. Johann finds a dungeon over by the normal potion shop by the Dead Woods. And I'm sure Crim's finding it. Yep, Crim's finding it as well. Interesting to note, it did not open from the one side, so Crim's probably going to try to force it open. I am way behind. Yep, me too. Okay, so can you just count Crim's time for me so I can sync it up? Okay. Okay, so both... Oh, a free wand.
Free wand
That's
is
always nice. Oh no, Johann's not getting the free wand. So, Crim does have an early wand. I'm very surprised that, that neither player is exploring that one dungeon. Pyrelight, Onion Knight's actually from Final Fantasy III. It's a custom created sprite that he did. Yeah, Edgy, absolutely right. It could be shapes. We don't know yet. Unfortunately, until one of them decides to explore more, it's hard to say. I feel like that this is probably not... There's no sound, Cyber Chow. Both of them have music as their option, because a lot of us are playing now with music off, so we can play our own music.
Yeah, that's my option of choice generally when I stream, is to play my own music. The game sound is fun, but after so many hundreds of games of Zelda, it does become a little bit taxing.
Yeah. So, hopefully Jam will insert appropriate Zelda musics. So Johann did give up on that Armos, which is probably the correct call, but at the same time, you have a sword at start, you have a dungeon, you want to explore this. And neither player can afford to play money-making game with the merchant, which is always sad. We like gambling here. Yep. Yep. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. So this might be Second Quest Overworld. Based on, it's either Mixed Quest or Second Quest Overworld, based on that one bomb choice alone. We'll see how that plays out. I mean, Crim may end up discovering it right here. Oh, nope, it's Mixed Quest. So we know it's Mixed Quest because of Heart Rock opening, but the spot north of Start not opening. So both players are going to have to hunt down a lot of things.
Yeah, Mixed Quest is very interesting in that it requires you, if you don't find an early recorder and power bracelet, you end up doing a lot of backtracking, which can be very time consuming. But if you can find one of those items early, it can also pay dividends because you never know if one of those dungeons are shuffled underneath one of those many, many spots in Mixed Quest.
So Crim trying to force open a way there, hoping for another way, and he does not get it. If Shapes is not on, then this is level 8. If Shapes is on, then who can say? Okay, we have Shapes.
Definitely have Shapes, and Shapes with shuffled start room, so it disguises what dungeon they're actually in, which means for them to identify 2 and 1, they're going to have to grab the Triforce and exit and take a look at their menu.
Or remember that they picked up 1 item or 2.
Early compass for Crimson, though, is nice.
Yeah, it's nice, but it doesn't do them a whole lot of good right now. Right now, he's just looking to get that key and then probably go down the stairs and see if it's an item. Chances are it's a passageway right now.
Indeed, you are correct, and there's a chance of having highly segmented dungeons and Shapes. We've seen, on occasion, 3 and 4-piece segmented dungeons, so it can always be interesting to try to figure out where exactly you're going. Finding a map with the like lakes here will definitely help explore faster.
Well, this is an interesting shape. It looks like poor level 8 got chopped up.
And this may not be level 8. It doesn't have a whole lot of room, so it could actually be one of the earlier dungeons with an extra segment in it.
Oh, for sure. Well, I know, but if you look at it, it sort of looks like how level 8 would look.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it definitely went through a meat grinder or something.
We get news from the old man that Jadongo dislikes smoke. So here's an interesting thing that occurred on Crimson's screen. Oh no, you're taking a death here. You see the buyers dropping parts. We now know that the item groups are shuffled, so players need to be on the lookout for bombs coming from odd places, like levers or Tektites.
Yeah, the Vire bats at that, which is actually kind of nice because if we have, I don't think we have shuffled HP, but if that ends up happening in a seed and you have shuffled drop groups, it allows you to perhaps get, bombs or something off of those particular enemies, off of the bats. So that's an interesting little thing to have happen.
Poor Johann is just not having a good day with the those Lionels on the screen. He's going to try it again, it looks like, and trying to bomb open the coast.
Yeah, unfortunately, shuffled Overworld can be a little bit dangerous if you get Lionels on some of the earlier choke point screens. It can make for a little bit of a rough day.
I don't think Crim went down that staircase, and I feel like that's a mistake.
Yeah, he didn't check it, which it could have been the item, or it could be the part to the other segment. But the Triforce being in its original room here, it means that we don't have shuffled dungeon drops, which is very nice for both players because then all they have to do is look for the Triforce and its normal room. So you're not killing any enemies, and you can save a lot of time that way just by looking for the Triforce room.
Press pause, Crim. Pause. I think it's level 2. I want to say this is probably level 2, just because there was no item staircase.
I would probably agree with you on that, yeah. And there is the chance that the dungeon palettes are not shuffled, and this would be the normal color for level 2.
That is true.
But we have another staircase.
Oh, well, nope, it's a fake staircase. Oh, Johann picking up a candle.
And we have a heart on the coast, which means that item is not shuffled. But another point of interesting note is that orange Wizrobes are only 1 hit point.
So we know HP is now shuffled, which is always fun to deal with. Oh, okay. It's too late, I'm already crazy. Oh, that's a key. That doesn't help too
Johann
much.
finding a level.
Ooh. If we're going off the assumption that this is Palace, then this is probably 8.
Yeah, no confirmation yet, but that would be my guess as well, that it is level 8. Having not seen any shuffled palettes is, it's only been, I think, 3 dungeons, but it's an interesting note to have in the back of your mind if you're running these flags. If you do end up with shapes and the shuffled start room to not give you what dungeon you're in, you can pay attention to dungeon palette colors and determine where you're at off of that, and can definitely help you progress through the dungeon a little bit faster.
Oh, Johann finding level 9.
That's a good thing to find. It's never fun to find all 8 dungeons and then be searching the overworld to find that one last dungeon to find Zelda. Meanwhile, Crimson's still trying to figure out where the item is here.
I have a bad feeling on where it is.
And I think I can agree with you. It is most likely that 6 blue Wizrobe room right there at the start.
Yeah. Oh, it could be this key door. Oh, it is the key door when it's a ladder.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about it. Okay, so dungeon drops are not shuffled, which means the dungeon items for 1 and 2 will always be in their original room. So good on Crim to realize that and not clear that room, because that means that there has to be the 4 fireball statue room for the dungeon drop, and finding the ladder is a big deal.
There have been times where ladder has not been forced, but it's so rare.
Especially in shapes, right? Because shapes, and I don't think that we've got shuffled dungeon or randomized dungeon rooms this time, but if you end up with that, you can end up with level 1 and have a ladder block and, have a really bad time. So if you're going to find an early item, that is definitely on the top of the list.
Yeah, for sure. I'm a fan of early ladder, early wand, early sword. Interesting to note as well, and I'm wondering if this is going to be something that we see. Crimson another level, and I'm wondering if it's 4 just based on us seeing that maze room that he was in to the left of the dungeon. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going off the assumption that dungeon rooms aren't shuffled, then the only way that could be in there, because if I remember correctly, the way it's programmed is that it only uses the rooms that's available in first quest for shapes, unless you shuffle in second quest rooms. So that would make this level 4 for sure.
Well, sorry, TGE, but you've been rejected.
Yeah, I mean, with a wand and a wood sword already, not necessarily the greatest thing to have. However, he doesn't have an option to pick up anything at ranged yet, which would have been possibly nice, but choosing to not pick up the boomerang in this case to save a few seconds.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also actually really good to note right now, too, when we saw the wood sword cave, we did not see an extra candle.
Correct. Yeah, so you have to either you have to buy a candle or find the red candle, which is an important note. And Johann has found a dungeon now underneath the candle spot, and I don't believe Crimson has got a candle yet.
I want to say this is probably level 1 where he is right now.
Based off of the color, I would definitely have to agree. At this point, I'm going to assume that we don't have dungeon palette shuffled, since we've hit what would be 4 dungeons now in their original colors.
5
so,
if
yeah,
you count level 9.
5 with level 9. So definitely can determine what dungeons everybody is in based off of their colors.
And the size indicates it's level 1 as well. This is a pretty small level.
Interesting to note, though, that we've had a 3-segment level 2 and a 2-segment level 1. The joys of shapes. Happy little ink blots.
Yeah. Very happy little ink blots. Crim's definitely going through. This is 6, I think, where Crim is at, honestly. He's run into a lot of doors. Oh, Wizrobe's in 1.
And Wizrobe's in level 1 also. So level 2 and level 1 both containing Wizrobes. is never a sight that you really want to see when you're on a shuffled HP type of seed, because that's generally supposed to be your easy items, and if you've got to go through Wizrobes, it makes it much more difficult.
Old man asking for money, keys or your life, and Crimson doesn't have to give up either. I'm that shape just, I don't know what to make of this. This is probably 4.
Yeah, I agree. I agree that this is 4. If it were 6, it would be much larger on a general note. But yeah, very nice having the life or money room be in that particular location. Means that it could be in other dungeons as well, and we have them shuffled in. But in that particular case, just being able to take the bomb door and walk on right out is very nice.
And Johann's in a bit of a... Oh, Johann gets out of his spot. That was not fun. Oh...
And at least 5 HP on the Vyres, which actually means, again, the fact that the bats drop items is kind of a boon. A life replenishment, and if you end up having Wizrobe shuffled into level 9, then that could be a great way to get some life back.
Yes. Eastmost Peninsula, I'm pretty sure Johann did not want to know that secret.
Normal hints on this one as well, so no helpful hints available, unfortunately.
I don't think either player will have to have them too much. I would think they can suss this out. Something I'm noticing here too is bosses may have 0 HP. I'm not sure if they're shuffled or if they have 0. Because the Moldorms, land moles went down really quick.
Yeah, it is possible for those to be shuffled down to 0 on the shuffle HP, but we'll have to keep our eye out for other bosses and see what happens.
I believe that was the heart container for level 1. And I know Johann picked up a choose 1 heart. He may have to use a key at the top left of this dungeon just to find the items in here.
Raft is the other item.
Interesting.
Which is nice. It gives you access to a couple of places on the map that you didn't have before. However, most of the time you're not going to check those unless you're already walking by them, as they are a little bit time consuming. But you never know. There is the possibility that the level gets shuffled there.
Yep.
And also running into a dig dogger, which could be hiding. I'm not sure if he's found the other item on the ground in here or not, but it could in fact be hiding in that room.
It could be, and if it is, then he can at least eliminate the whistle as what it's blocking. Pole's voice ruins everybody's days. Highlight, it's just the fact of the bunny. The bunny does not like anybody. Any bunny.
Well played, sir.
Thank you. Oh, Crim finding a candle. How lucky.
That's super convenient for him, as he doesn't already have one, and this being a no extra candle seed, that is actually a really good find for him, as it will unlock several places on the overworld, as well as save him some extra money.
Yep. It's worth noting as well here, neither player has found a bow right now, which we know is in 1 through 8. That's guaranteed.
Yeah, with it being shapes, let's hope it's not in level 6. That's usually the worst level to have to dig in shapes due to the size and usually extreme configuration of that level.
Oh, I would have kept farming those fires for the money. He's on a 5 rupee drop. And so what that means is, because those drops don't increase on the counter, he could have just farmed up to 250 rupees real quick. May not be the best move, but if you suspect Wizrobes are going to be ruining your day, it'll allow you to farm for a blue ring real quick.
Indeed. And Johann taking the time here to sort down some blue Wizrobes and hope that this is where the item drop is. It's either here or in the dig dogger room. And both have got the configuration of the room that Aquamentus is normally in, which means that it would contain a drop.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, taking a beam there and dying, not favorable HP so far, it looks like, on the blue Wizrobes. I'm not quite sure what their total hit points are, but definitely in the upper echelon, around where they normally are.
Yeah, they're not in the 6 hit point range, which is where you honestly want them to be at.
Yeah, and as Random Effect pointed out, he's got 4 bombs, and while you want to be conservative with those, generally if you're trying to clear out to get an item, and you've got blue Wizrobes, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and use a couple of those if you can.
Yes. And he has a 50-50 shot of either getting... I'm not sure why you would clear this room out again. You have a 50-50 shot right now of either picking up a compass or picking up the item. Oh, interesting. Like drop bombs.
Yeah, with shuffled drop groups, it turns out likes are bomb droppers, and that would probably be the reason for killing him, which is super nice. Again, if you end up having the Wizrobe palette inside of level 9, then it's actually super generous because you've got a pretty easy way to get life and a pretty easy way to get bombs without fighting, the harder Wizrobe groups.
Yes. All right. See, for me right now, with that two instant clear right there of those two, I like leaving and coming back in.
I agree, and fantastic bomb usage here.
Oh, what a nice sword. That was well worth it. That will make his combat a lot easier. It's not what he was looking for, but it's a nice consolation prize.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, especially with shuffled HP, you never know what you're going to run into, so that makes combat twice as effective for him, and definitely good usage of bombs there, getting both Wizrobes and several of them, and getting out of that room with the Triforce. So well played by Johann Howitzer.
Correct, Edgy. What this is doing right now is if the room is a normal drop room in that dungeon, then it will have a drop in it.
Yeah, it's kind of odd to respond to Edgy. What he's asking is about the drops in the levels, because the Triforces are in their original rooms, which the only way for that to occur is if the flag for shuffled drop rooms is off. But it seems like even in the logic that the items can still be shuffled in shapes to a different drop room. And maybe it was just coincidence that the item in level 2 ended up being in its normal room.
I think also it's worth noting that if that room does not normally have a drop in the level, it won't have a drop in there. Is that making sense?
That makes sense to me because, for instance, in level 4, the only place that the maze room actually appears in level 4, it doesn't have it. It usually has a standing drop, which is kind of odd. But
it did have one because there's 3 maze rooms in there.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, but like you were saying, any room that normally does not have a drop will not have a drop, if that makes any sense. So any of the, say in level 2, if you run into the room that has the configuration of a 5 on a dice, that will never have a drop in level 2 with this particular flag setup.
Yes. We definitely know that level 7 is where Crim is at because he just ran into Grumbles. Grumbles wants his meat. Johann's got the meat, but Crim does not.
Yeah, and ironically, Johann buying meat at exactly the same time as he runs into him.
Alright, with Johann seeing the Triforce in 1 being in its normal room, he should have an inkling that when he goes into dungeons now, that he's looking for that particular room. Uh-oh, Crim running out of bombs in a bad part of level 7 and getting a clock for his troubles off of something that doesn't normally drop a clock.
Unfortunately, nothing in that room, so wasted efforts. Looks like he needs bombs to get around to level 7, so he's going to have to go get some of those at some point in order to finish up that dungeon. And level 7 in shapes isn't as bad as in the vanilla where there's 33 rooms, but it still can have its little quirks. But generally level 6 has taken over the place of the nightmarish dungeon with several rooms more than normal.
Yeah, and something to point out too is that Grumbles could very well be blocking the way forward in that dungeon.
Yeah, and another large secret for Crimson puts him at 225, so he would be in range pretty soon for a blue ring, but I'm sure he's hunting for a meat shop at this point.
Yeah, but you're not looking to pay 113 for that meat.
I would not be either. There is definitely a cheaper meat shop on the map somewhere, and I will tend to find it until I get desperate. And looks like he's doing the same. There's plenty more map to explore to figure out where things are, and he can go back to 7 at a later time.
Yep. Johan is taking advantage of the fact that he's walking by a raft spot. Oh,
Find the
no! Oh, that's big. That is actually pretty interesting now.
And this looks like it's level 6.
Yeah, based on the palette, yes.
And it's also Dark Nuts.
I would also like to point out now, too. Oh, wait. Is there a dungeon over at where normal 6 is? Or is that just a mismark?
I don't know that anybody's been over to the grave area yet.
I don't know either. It's interesting to note that we have confirmed 8 out of 9 dungeons.
Yeah, and neither player here has gone up to the northwest portion of the map yet. So,
a bow for Johan. Oops.
Yeah, and then level 6 at that. It was lucky that it was easy to find. Usually the item in level 6 is highly elusive, so finding the bow early in level 6 is quite a relief. Ganon may or may not be required, but it is always good to have.
And the players know that there's a 50% chance that silvers are 9 anyways. So there's a 50% chance guaranteed that they're forced to 9, and then even if they're shuffled, they could still very much wind up in 9.
Yeah, definitely more heavily weighted on the fact that they're in 9. So the general play strategy for this would be try to get to 9 as quickly as possible, because for one, there's a 50% chance that you don't need Ganon, and 2, there's a 50% chance that silver arrows are in 9 to begin with, so it's a good place to be.
Yep. We have seen all the dungeons now. Crim found level 3 up on the not transition, but the staircase to level 9. So everything is either in the northeast or near start, with the one exception of level 3.
Yeah, that's a lot of places on the map to not need to explore, which is a lot of time that can be saved if they find the dungeons in the correct order that they need to here.
Yep, so far Johan not getting blocked by a ladder, because he does not have it. And it's going to turn out that right now that that raft pickup from level 1 is going to be pretty big.
Yeah, and Crimson not getting that is a little bit to his detriment, because I don't know when he'll choose to go back to level 1.
He hasn't found it yet.
Oh, he hasn't found level 1 yet. Okay. Oh, yeah, it was level 2 that he found. That's correct.
And yeah, it was level 2 that he full cleared. To find the ladder. I believe Johan here is looking for a key. 4-hit blue Dark Nuts is just amazing.
Yeah, and Pyrolite making a very good point. We haven't seen the White Sword Cave, and we know that it is in fact shuffled, so it could be possible that the silver arrows are shuffled into said cave.
Yep. That is very true. He may try to find an alternate way around to the Triforce, just because he's trying to save keys. Ooh, needs to be careful with his health here, but I would be dropping a bomb on one of these guys since you have a bomb pickup in the previous room. At what point do you just say what point do you just say this isn't worth it now and leave? On Johan's.
Well, you've already got the item, and you've got to have the Triforce. I don't know that it's ever going to get any better than what he's got right now, because if you go off the assumption that Silver and Red Ring are shuffled into 9, you're never going to have an upgraded ring unless you spend the money. So, you've got to find the Triforce in order to get into 9. So I guess I agree with his choice to continue searching for it.
Yeah, I mean, keys are going to be big.
Yeah, keys are super important as well. But again, you've got to find the Triforce, and this is on a raft spot, and it's pretty far out of the way. They don't have a recorder yet to whistle back anywhere. So I would just keep searching.
Oh, okay. One thing to note is when we do have shapes on, a banana is in 3. That banana gets a reject as well. With shapes on, this is important to note for anybody who is playing this. With shapes on, the sideways staircases, like you just saw, Johanna, they will never have a drop from killing enemies. It's either going to be a standing room drop or no drop. It's not like in normal vanilla 8 where you can get a drop from a side staircase.
That's a good tip to know. I don't know that I actually knew that myself, so I'll have to remember that.
Yes, right now it's currently, Fred does not have it programmed to drop, to have a drop in that room.
I'm not sure if Johann's fishing for health or what exactly he's doing, or just coying the room a little bit in case he has to go through again.
Looks like that's exactly what he's doing. Unfortunately here, Dark Nuts are just really generous today.
Yeah, having low HP on both is extremely nice, especially when I think this is the 3rd dungeon we've seen with Dark Nuts, so...
Yeah, 2nd or 3rd. Crim's thankful that he doesn't have to go back up to level 3, but at the same time is horribly disappointed that it's a banana in there, not important.
Yeah. He doesn't find an extra heart, but we do know that all the dungeons have been located, so the only thing of use that he could find up here on Death Mountain would be either, again, an extra heart, or perhaps the white sword item, which we have not seen.
Uh-oh. Crim's gonna... Nope, Lionel's are bad.
Shotgun down, unfortunately.
This just in, Lionel's bad. News at 10. It just got sorted down, and this is going to be a blessing in disguise because he's going to find level 8.
Johann needing a key to get into that Triforce room.
All right, there we go. Johann's just giving it. He could have gone right and up instead of spending the key there, but he opts to just save himself and move on, which I felt is the right decision. He should have probably been out of there a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I understand it's your last key, but at the same time, when you're on a try and run type deal, or we're kind of at this point, you want to get that, and if you keep dying trying to go around, just spend your key and save yourself the trouble and the hassle.
Yeah, it's definitely not. I mean, keys are important, but so is moving on and being able to go elsewhere.
And to note, I mean, he hasn't gone into level 2 or 3 yet, both of which are pretty key heavy. So while you don't have a lot of keys, and in fact none in his case at this point, you still haven't found those 2 dungeons, which will generally have at least a couple of key drops for you to pick up.
Yes. Johann's going to find level 7 here. Oh, the key usage in 8 is real. Holy moly, how many keys do you have to get around in this dungeon?
Yeah, that's where a lot of Johann's ended up going, I believe.
I'm looking at Crim, and Crim's just lots of keys.
Finds a heart piece, gets stuck up in that segmented 3 portion up there. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, but and that means there's another dead staircase that will lead to that one room to the right of there. But did you see how the heart was just standing there?
Yep. Which again is nice because it was a dig dogger, and we currently do not have a recorder.
No, we do not. And this is just a really key intensive 8 here. Hope people know where to buy keys at, because I'm willing to bet you 5 keys is not enough in here.
it's always unfortunate when you get the shuffles where it's super key heavy, and you don't have the keys to go through, and you have to leave the dungeon to figure out exactly what you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's always a pain.
And then generally by the end of the siege, you end up with 12 or 13 keys and find the magical key, and you're just kind of like face palming a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, it always happens. It's the same way if you buy a blue ring. You buy a blue ring, next item is going to be the red one.
He's restocking up on keys here, though, which is nice. And gets a Tri-Donger Bomb. That is always nice to find, or do.
I don't take this, because I would suspect it leads me to that one dead-end room. Yep.
Yeah, as Firelight pointed out, bosses are in fact not 1 HP. It just so happens that blue Lenmolos are shuffled down to where they die very quickly.
Which is always a good thing.
Yeah, those guys, it never fails. I'll end up having to enter a room from the left-hand side and just get wrecked by them.
Yep. It's like, oh, thanks. Crim is unfortunately going to be looking for items in here, I think. And it's just because he has not found a bow, he has not found a raft, a recorder,
or power bracelet. Yeah, all the items needed to look at extra places. And again, like as far as this being a mixed over.
Oh, boomstick is on. That tells him something right there.
That's man. Wow, that might be something worth searching for in this case with the shuffled HP. Who knows?
Yeah, that would trivialize 9 pretty well.
But it is interesting to note that in a mixed overworld, the only item required to find a dungeon was a candle, or 2 items was a candle and a raft.
Yeah.
No recorder and no power bracelet with the number of spots that there are possible in a mixed overworld.
Yeah, there's just nothing. So Johann's got to play really safe here. His health is not good. He can take four hits from the fireball and then just 1 from a Gibdo.
Yeah, these 4 turret rooms are a little bit rough.
It's really rough when you're trying to. It's really rough when you're trying to slow down a whole bunch of wall masters.
Yeah, that is probably close to right. And the any key for Crimson.
You know what?
That's a big find.
It's interesting. I'm running through in my mind what we have found so far. Book was replaced by Magical Shield in 8. Any key was in 8. Red Candle was in 7.
But Ladder was in 2.
Ladder was in 2. It's interesting to see that some items did get shuffled, and if you found those items first, you would assume that item shuffle's not on.
That is very true. It's pretty odd overall how often that happens. And like I've seen, I think 3 seeds in the last couple of weeks in this particular flag set where Red Ring and Silver Arrows were shuffled, but they were both an 8.
Yep.
It's very interesting how items get paired up with themselves a lot more than what they seem, and they end up in their proper dungeons as well.
I approve of this heart here. I would actually buy a second one just because Lionels are jerks.
Indeed. Yeah, too many overworld deaths can cost you a lot of time when you have to keep going back up to the same places over and over again. These screens are super unfriendly with Lionels on them due to the ladders and the choke points.
Yep. Crim does find level 9. He's just got to hunt down the other dungeons, which he probably will be able to do now, since he has Red Candle. It's just a matter of him finding it. And
Johann tracked down level 4, but opts to leave.
I feel like this is a wrong choice rather than a correct choice, unless he's farming.
Well,
oh, he's popping a door.
Yeah, which is a good call. I don't think he has any keys, so that kind of makes that useful.
Yes. Uh-oh. Well, guess what, Johann? You get to go around.
Yeah, the key doors in this seat are fairly brutal.
Use the candle. Yay, he used the candle. Crim's taking a beating from blue. Oh my goodness.
And unfortunately dies.
That's just bad, bad
With
luck
the large
there.
shield at that, and I can't say that I fault him for that because I pick up the large shield and all it does for me is make my screen scrolls more difficult, and then I never remember that I have it for Wizrobes or Lionels, and I'm like, oh, cool, I have that, and then by the time I get to the next portion with that, it's already been eaten by a like, so it doesn't matter, and I die anyways.
Yeah, I never pick it up anymore. Even if I see it, it's like, ugh, it's just too much of a pain to deal with. Johann's gonna reject the wood banana.
Yeah, no love for the banana this seed, but again, we're so far in that it's not that big of a deal.
Alright, this is interesting. Johann knows the ladder can't be in here. He's probably gonna leave, unless he wants to try to force the Triforce.
I mean,
It's an interesting conundrum.
It is, and especially with low keys, you've got to think about the fact that, okay, so I don't have a ladder in this dungeon for sure, and I've only got one key. And I've had more than one instance where level 2 or level 1, you can't get anywhere without a key.
Yep.
So again, it's a toss-up. Generally, I would end up leaving, but he's making the choice to go in there, and I don't exactly remember where the Triforce was. I think it was accessible without a ladder.
I think so too, but I'm not 100% sure. It just makes these NSU rooms a lot more difficult. Given what we've seen now, we can safely assume, I think, that silvers are in 9 with the red ring.
For sure, and it looks like Crimson picked up a bomb upgrade, opting to do that over buying a boomstick, which I can't say that I fault him because he's found the majority of the dungeons at this point, and searching for that one elusive shop is can be extremely time-consuming.
Let me tell you about how elusive that shop is. That stupid shop.
In your case, if you would just check the screen right next to where you were.
How am I supposed to know?
Yeah, again, you were in go mode, so I can't say that that I blame you. But Johann's still going through this dungeon. It looks like he took another death, and he's going to go ahead and head on up. And this Gleeok is just not being kind. That room is a really bad room to have a Gleeok in.
Yes, it is. I would go up here, honestly, and just explore elsewhere.
Yeah,
I think he went left.
And 1 HP orange Wizrobes is a super big boom, but it doesn't look like they are bomb droppers. I believe Pyrolight's made a very good point here that the only enemies that we've seen drop bombs in dungeons so far are likes.
Yep.
And there is the possibility that there is the shuffle, and we don't have the Wizrobe set in level 9. So we haven't seen much of the Guerrilla set yet, so we can't really tell if those things drop bombs. But, you know, that could be an issue going into level 9 where the boomstick could actually be a big deal.
Yes. There's a map telling us exactly. Oh, yeah, I remember where it was now. Up from here is your keys or your life, which you obviously don't have to do anything with. He's just sort of sitting there hoping that some sucker will give him keys. It's all the way, the Triforce is all the way to the right here. Okay, Johann, you know that doesn't work. You've tried it already. But collecting a lot of money that he doesn't need off keys.
Yeah, those being in the money group is very interesting.
It is.
It's always nicer when they're in the bomb groups, or probably the nicest enemy to have get shuffled into the bomb groups are the gels that split off Zols and having high HP Zols. Okay,
what Johann's doing here, I don't agree with. Why are you trying to get anything out of that room?
Yeah, this should be your last room, which means you should know it's the Triforce at that point. Don't take a death when you're this far into a level.
Exactly.
But he does pick up another Triforce.
Oh, sorry. Yep.
So Johann getting his 3rd, and Crimson's got 4, and I think Crimson's still searching around for a couple of levels at this point.
Yes, he has not found level 1, I don't think, for sure.
Which is a big level to find.
Neither player has gone back into level 5 yet. He can't get to level 6, and was he able to get the I think he got the Triforce out of 7. White Sword Recorder, interesting. Recorder's the White Sword item.
That is interesting. Which in this case is probably actually going to cost Crimson more time, as we know that none of the recorder spots are actually required.
Yeah. And he gets whisked away. Oh, nope, he's world wrapping here. Picking up that heart container.
Didn't even bother to check that screen, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, I definitely would have checked that screen, just to make sure that it's nothing important.
He does find the cheap meat, and he will pick that up in an attempt to. I don't believe he found the Triforce in 7 because he was either bomb blocked and ran out of bombs,
or bomb
he was blocked by the Hungry Gorilla. So, having picked up that meat, both players have now got that. They will be able to hopefully make better progress through level 7.
Yep. I believe Johann gave up on level 7 and is now in level 2, where if he explores well, he will definitely find the ladder.
Indeed. And Crimson again passing up what could be a potential screen with the recorder, which is an interesting choice. I don't know if he doesn't realize that those could be a screen, but again, luckily for him, that's not going to cost him anything other than maybe some rupees, or it could be the boomstick shop. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
But kind of showcasing why Mixed Quest is, I would assume, at least for me, it is my least favorite option, because you have to check every single screen, because outside of a couple of guaranteed screens, they could be anywhere.
That is true. With Mixed Quest, you do have some guarantees. You know that level 5 is always going to be normal level 5. You know that level 2 is always going to be whistleable. You'll also know that the recorder lake is also whistleable.
We have got a new emote.
Those are and you also know level 3 is always going to be second quest, level 3 cave with Mixed Quest.
Correct, yeah. But outside of that, it's free game, and I've had seeds where you've got 2 or 3 spots in the graveyard, or you've got no spots in the graveyard. And so again, you just got to check everything, and it's extremely time consuming. Crimson finding all the hearts.
Yep, if you could find Magical Sword.
Would be a nice find. I mean, they've already got white, but again, with shuffled HP and finding level 1 now, he could possibly pick up another heart. Yes. And if they do manage to find the Magical Sword, which at this point seems like it's either in Dead Woods, the Grave, or Death Mountain, as we've not been. You know, it would be useful just because blue wizards are a little bit testy, and we don't know if Ganon's yet required. And it's always nice to have a Magical Sword for Ganon.
Crim does find level 1 finally. I'm going to be curious to see if he checks for Raft Spot over Death Mountain, though. You could do it! Johann, you got the block clip. Yay!
Honestly, I probably wouldn't, and that would be because I've already cleared that entire side of the map, and to go all the way back over there for one spot is a little bit time-consuming. But you never know. There are times I'm like, well, I've got that intuition feeling, and it turns out to be a pay-to-work.
Yep. Something that Johann still has not found is the wand. He just has not been back over on that side at all. I'm surprised he didn't bomb up there, but now he's going to realize he has to bomb up there.
There have been times I've forgotten that, oh, I died on that, and I die a lot on that screen, right? If you get a bad enemy set on the blue ring Armo screen, you can die. And if I do, I don't generally go back until much later because I don't want to waste time again. White sword for Crimson finally, which is fantastic. So he may have forgotten to go back to that screen. I mean, at this point, I think he's checked everything but the Grave Armos. So it's got to be in the back of his mind that there's an item there, and it could very well be the ladder. I mean, but again, it's one of those things where I personally have forgotten from time to time to go back to check the Armos screens.
Yeah, and Crim's not going to leave here without the second item for sure. I'm curious to know why he didn't kill the one room first to see if there was a drop in there. It doesn't matter. He's got the magic key, but still, it's one less thing you don't have to go exploring for. Okay, Johann, don't die to Keese. There you go. Good. Oh, that was a good room clear with the red candle. He is skipping it right now, but he may change his mind after this room.
Yeah, indeed. But they do have 1 hit point, so they do die with the red candle pretty quick. And even if it's later in the game, sometimes I'm still a proponent of picking up the red candle because it can make gel and keystreams much faster than trying to sort them.
Oh, so close.
Like, gets clipped in the door and takes another unfortunate death, and is going to have to make his way back up to the top of the dungeon again. And Crimson does find the raft, which is good. Probably actually not what he was looking for. He still hasn't located the bow, so he's probably still trying to figure out where that item's at, which we know it's in level 6 on the raft spot, so he should run into both at some point or another.
Yep. Actually, he should know level 6 has the either bow or power bracelet at this point. Alright, Johann's going to use a key here to see if it's the ladder or item in here, and it's not. But because of this, he can now deduce that either the item drop in here is in that 6 wizard room, which he will not clear unless he's forced to, or it's in that other key door.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely use a key, and I'm stingy with my keys, but blue wizard rooms are not something that I like to play with.
Only if they're 1 HP.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it doesn't matter your skill level either. Blue wizards are jerks, and you know, if you've got, even with white sword, if they're bad shuffled HP and you're sitting around with 3 hearts and no ring, there's always that chance that you're going to take a death in that room, and that's never fun when you have to keep going back through staircases, clearing out shutter door rooms. I just avoid them like the plague.
Oh yeah. Krim is now busy sorting down Octoroks in hopes for a bomber rock, and he does not get it.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Johann was doing clearing out the room. He's got full bombs already. Maybe he was looking for a heart drop, maybe, but uses a potion, which is probably wise. And does run into a heart for his troubles here.
Yep, he'll pick up the heart in here. He knows that he has not found the item in here. He may just realize that he has to go to that key door and skip it here.
It takes a long, hard thought about picking up the Triforce, but makes the wise decision to go search for the item, which he will be rewarded with the ladder, which I'm sure will make him quite happy.
Oh, yeah. No? Yes? No? Okay. He had me scared for a second. I think he realized he didn't check one room. And it's a room that you want to check. And there's the ladder.
Yeah, great find for him. It's always a relief to find that. You never know if you're going to need it. And so far, I don't know that it has been required. But again, trying to traverse through shapes without a ladder is always a scary prospect. Crim does go to the raft spot.
Nice. Crim now has a decent lead here. It is required level 8 to get ladder blocked.
Oh, it did? Okay. Well, there you go.
I think also another indication of what dungeons these are is dungeon text was not shuffled.
That does, in fact, seem to be the case.
So, shoot in the eyes of Gomos was 6, Dodongo dislikes smoke is 2, obviously, etc., etc.
If I remember correctly, this was the bow, so Crim's going to have... Nope, it's the passageway.
Yeah, I think it's like one room. It's the sideways staircase. Which he may not find because he has the ladder, actually.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to note to see if he finds the Triforce and just leaves. Again, because 6 is one of those dungeons where trying to dig for an item can be extremely time-consuming. So if he does run into that Triforce room first, it'll be interesting to see if he takes it and whether or not he goes back to search for the item if he does.
Well, we haven't seen Power Bracelet, so we know that there's 2 items still missing that are guaranteed to the outside of 9. And I'm trying to remember what item they have skipped. I think level 5's item would be Power Bracelet at this point. But Crim doesn't know that. It could be level 5 has either bow or Power Bracelet. Johan taking an up bay here to go back to start. Yeah, at this point you take the Ooh, he's not taking the Triforce. He's going to look for the item, but I don't know how long he's going to look for it for.
He could just be doing the customary adjacent room search.
Yep.
Have we seen the Bloomerang yet?
We have seen the Bloomerang.
I'm trying to think of what that last item is. I can never remember what. There's always one item that I can never remember, and doesn't matter what it is. It never is in the back of my mind.
You mean where we've seen it or haven't seen it?
What we haven't seen. We need silver arrows. Power bracelet.
And red ring.
Red ring.
That's it.
Have we seen the item in 5 yet?
5 is going to be Power Bracelet because of 6 having bow. We've seen all the other items from here on
7
out.
was the boomerang. Right. Okay.
Oh, 7 had the red candle. 8 has shield and a key. 1 had white sword and wrath. 2 had ladder. 3 had, I think, the Bloomerang. And then 4 had the regular Boomerang. 5 has Power Bracelet. 6 has bow. And we got them all. Thus forcing the silver arrows and red ring to 9. So there's the rundown of where everything is for everybody in chat.
In semi-random order.
It's semi-random order.
And interesting to note that in fact the gel's off of the souls to drop items.
Yep. Another heart container for Johan here. Puts him up to 11 hearts, which is always nice. I approve Dragon Dark. I agree.
Yeah, Crim's still digging for the bow here in level 6, and if I remember correctly, it was closer to the start.
It was, and as a matter of fact, having the ladder actually threw him off on this. Because he didn't get stuck, he was able to continue on. So he's going to take the Triforce. I don't know if you go back in the situation knowing that you have a whistle, and you might be able to get back.
But he's checked just about every room but the ones at the very beginning. He's maybe got 5 or 6 rooms left. Yeah, I would definitely go back in that case.
Oh, for sure. Oh, no. Level 8 being the keymonger.
Oh, man. And it has the any key in it, too, unfortunately. It just takes a bunch of keys to get to it.
It does.
Yeah, here is the bow. And I'm sure Crimson is going to be super happy to see that pop up.
Oh, for sure. Right now, I'm guessing a key shop is what we're looking for, and Johan does find the cheap key shop on the raft spot, so he's going to be able to just stock up on keys here.
Yeah, very fortunate find for him. It's never fun to hear that.
Yeah, the wah-wah key buying of shame, but you have to do it if you're getting blocked out of a lot of dungeons. There's just absolutely no reason not to do it.
I do have to say that that's probably my favorite sound effect in the game.
It is definitely one of the more interesting ones. Johan's going to take a health refill here. He's going to want to go...
It's never a bad thing to hit the ferry if you're afraid that you're going to die on the overworld, especially if you're going to go in and hit another dungeon.
Wow, you guys are evil in chat, Matrick and Jam. Shame. So in level 5, this is why level 5 never got any love. This is not fun. This room is not fun to deal with.
Magical pancakes in a shutter door room, always fantastic.
The good news is if you clear this room, it's not coming back.
Yeah, and he does get the whiz ropes down, which means he should be able to do that.
Yep.
I'm always a big proponent in these rooms of take out a whiz rope, and in this particular configuration of enemies, you can just kill a like and keep. It takes time, but the like is the last enemy to spawn in the killable group, so
Yep.
you can finagle the room down one enemy at a time if it does prove to be incredibly difficult.
Yep. It is definitely not fun to deal with. Poor Crim just getting ran over in level 7 at the same time Johann gets run over by land molas. Interesting to note is if you can block clip here, you can block clip onto those blocks and just candle them down that way. That's a drop.
Wow. Land molas dropping bombs. That is interesting. Not what you want to see, honestly.
No, it's not.
And Crim getting face planted by another blue dark nut inside the staircase. That is unfortunate.
Blue dark nuts are jerks. Whiz robes are jerks. Land mola. Have you noticed a common theme in this game?
If it's a blue, it's a jerk.
They're just all jerks. Nope. Liquid Husband. They're both playing the same seed. They're just in different spots.
Yeah, it just so happens that the dungeon palettes are not shuffled, and level 5 and level 7 have got the same color.
Crim's opting to use a potion here.
I don't disagree. If I've got a potion and I've died a few times, I'm just going to do it because it gets super frustrating to die over and over and over again in the same location.
Oh, for sure.
And he doesn't know how much more he's got in level 7. It'll be super unfortunate if he pops out right next to the Triforce room, but again, you never know. And I think he's taken 2 deaths in that particular room, so don't disagree with his option.
We're about to see if Grumble's blocked away. Oh, Grumbles did block away. Grumbles being the jerk. Old man just lying out through his teeth now. He's just like, hey, Death Mountain, Spectacle Rock is an entrance to death. No, it's not. Old man, please, the lake is an entrance to death. This is definitely an interesting shape here. I wouldn't deal with this room. You know the Triforce isn't in here.
Yep, that's just one of those things that that comes with flag recognition, and maybe he hasn't figured that portion out yet. I don't know what else he'd be looking for unless he's trying to maybe find a key.
A key or the compass even. I mean, the compass would be a good find, but I don't think it's worth sorting down Wizrobes.
No.
I'm very proficient at fighting them, and I don't want to fight this room.
Well, especially when you just use your last potion charge. I mean, he can't go buy another one, so that is a possibility. But, yeah, just getting wrecked by these guys. They're not fun. Like, you know, even if you understand their movement patterns and everything else, they are dangerous to deal with. Does, however, get rewarded with a key, which he is in dire straits in need of. So, you know, at least get something for his trouble.
Yep. Yeah, I just wouldn't deal with this room either.
And then takes a death to the likes that like to just ignore iframes.
Yeah, they don't like that. Just not as bad as the Wizrobes ignore iframes.
Yeah, they just... Playing with likes is that you can sword them and they'll go into an iframe, but they won't get bumped back a direction and they'll just walk on top. Same thing with Gibdos.
Yeah.
They just like hugs.
They can keep their hugs.
Crimson does, in fact, run out of bombs. I wonder at this point if he is in the back of his mind looking for that book.
Quite possibly. A good clock pickup here for Johann.
And does burn the incorrect bush. I hope he goes back and burns the bottom bush there, which is the one that would actually have the staircase.
Yeah, I missed that he burned the wrong bush. At this point, I guess you're digging for health, or you're digging for... Oh, there's the compass. Now he knows where he's going, so...
Yeah, interesting to note that Crimson did not go back and check that bush, and I don't remember if Johann ever had, so that could be the book location. And doesn't check the whistle location there either.
Do you take the staircase? No. I would never take the staircase here. I would just bomb to the left. Johann's now going to have to be really careful, and this is where knowing what limitations the randomizer does have, you know you're never going to see a drop in there, so there's no reason to clear that room.
And Crimson, unfortunately, using his last potion charge on a heart and a half right before up A. I think he was intending to try to bomb.
Yeah, and
didn't realize he was out of bombs and used his last potion charge. So that's super unfortunate.
All right, so the bad news, Johann ran out of bombs. The good news, Johann ran right into a bomb salesman who said, "Hey, you want some bombs? I'm selling some bombs. Not bams, but bams."
Yeah, it's always nice to have that happen. I've had that happen on a few occasions, and it's like, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to, backtrack 5 minutes and go farm bombs off of I don't know what drops them.
Exactly.
Well, let me go find those blue land molas that I was fighting earlier.
Yep, that seems like a viable option.
Does it seem that Johann knows about the trick where you can kill one set of the land molas and then leave the room, and the other will disappear? Does get a bomb drop though.
The bombs are real. Alright, see, this is where, yeah, there you go, Johann. Oh, magical sword for Krim. That's a big pickup. Oh no, the keys! Unfortunately, a magical sword does not stab open doors.
As Crimson's located every dungeon at this point, so it does seem like he's book hunting, or at least looking for a bomb shop.
And unfortunately, that is not what he had found either.
No, you found a wonderful screen full of Lionels that felt like stabbing him in the back.
Typical Lionel. All Johann has to do is survive these land mola rooms.
Ooh, does get around the room. Well played.
And now the room doesn't come back, so I wouldn't even kill those. I would just move on.
Yeah, just get to the Triforce and get out of here at this point.
Yep. You spent a lot of time in here. You know it's time to go.
Yeah, these type of dungeons are really difficult with low life. I mean, Lakes are just jerks in the fact that, again, you could be sorting them and they'll change their directional pattern and run into you. You've got Whiz Robes, you've got Lanmolas. Vire, they can always bounce over the top of your sword and run into you. It's just not a kind dungeon set, and if you got low life and no ring, it can be difficult to just try to get to a room.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Johann's looking for the item, I guess, which is the power bracelet.
Right, and I guess the only reason why that would be, and man, I hope he doesn't die in this room, would be to try to find the magical sword, because he's found every dungeon at this point, I believe.
Yes, he has. But he hasn't seen all the items.
That is true. That is true indeed. We'll opt to pick it up.
I wouldn't pick it up if I've seen all the items. I'm just not gonna go back and research for stuff if I know where all my dungeons are.
Well, it's also interesting to note that neither player has found the inroads, so that leads me to assume that they're probably under their normal spots.
Yes.
Which means there's actually only 3 power bracelet locations that are possible to be useful, and even in mixed quest.
Yep. The one south of level 5, the one the Letter Cave northwest southeast of Second Quest 9, and then Magical Sword Cave of Second Quest, which is 5 east of normal 9. Yeah, those are the only 3 spots that are viable with
Crimson taking another death, having a really hard time in this dungeon.
That dungeon is not treating him well for somebody who has a wand and a magical sword.
Again, it just goes back to that. You've got 3 hearts and a green tunic, and Dark Knights are jerks.
Yeah, they are. So I don't know what Johann's looking for, just probably money at this point. Buying another candle.
Key?
Candle. No, not even a key. A potion.
Oh yeah, you could be trying to buy another potion. That's a good point.
Well, we're about to see where we whistled to. Interesting, we whistled to old locations.
Yeah, original first quest dungeons. And it's rewarded with a large secret, so good for them. Have we even seen a blue ring?
No, we have not seen a blue ring shop.
So definitely looks like it's the rare shop for the book and the blue ring, and unfortunately, Crimson taking yet another Gibdo hug.
Gibdos have feelings too.
Yeah, their movement patterns are frustrating. I'll just leave it at that. Anybody that's ran any percent or done a number of randomizer,
it's janky. It's very janky.
Well, and it looks like they're going one direction and then they shift. And unfortunately, even if you soar, sometimes it doesn't matter because their iframes are going to stop before you can move, and they don't get knocked back. And so you take the 2 hearts of damage.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Firelight making a great point. He used a bomb and died, and so now he's again out of bombs, trying to make his way through this dungeon, and it's just not being kind at all. It turns out that this 7 is not a kind 7.
You will see Crim do a ladder clip here to avoid going around. Desperately searching for the Triforce. He wants to be out of this dungeon.
Indeed. Yeah, clips never required, but absolutely a good skill to have.
Like at this point, you feel like you have to have seen almost every part of this level, and you haven't seen a compass or a Triforce or a map.
But does get a map. It seems like he's been to all but 1 room, maybe 2.
And he needs bombs again. That's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Johann may get lucky and bomb in the right spot.
I feel his pain because I have had this happen on multiple occasions where, especially with shuffled drop groups, again, it seems like the drop groups are in extremely, either heavily in the Guerrilla set or are just shuffled to like bosses or something because in fact, the boss group is a bomb drop group, which is kind of weird with Len Moles and such. But it makes it hard because you can't get a bomb, and so you've got to leave. You've got to figure out who drops bombs or find a bomb shop, and it's crazy time consuming.
And I'm willing to bet that the bomb, the book, and oh no! Remember that boomerang you passed, Crim?
Tektites drop bombs, but he can't get to it.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I'm willing to bet the bomb shop, the book shop, and the blue ring shop are all the same shop.
That's what it's looking like, which is a brutal combination.
It is.
And it's also interesting to note to point out it's a flag that you can't really measure, but there is the ability for drop groups to be randomized or drop rates to be randomized anywhere between 30 to 70%. So it can make it sometimes more difficult to get the items that you need, and you won't really know that because you can't quantify it. But it could be just the fact that the bomb drop rate is in fact extremely low as well.
I don't want to say that the drop rates are low just based on all the drops we have seen. It looks like it's normal, but I think the drop groups that they are in is just not good. I don't know why Johann's going back in this room. He's already tried bombing up in here. He needs to try bombing up in this room.
There we go. And it's no.
Okay, so that means he wants to try. I wouldn't have up 8 here. I think I would have just gone unless he's just going straight left.
So Crimson's looking for the Triforce still, right?
Yeah, I think it's the one room to the left of this Darknet room that Johann's in right now.
I'm pretty sure that he's been to every room, according to his map.
No, there's one room he's missing, which is this room that Johann's trying to bomb into now.
I see. Well, I'm curious why he up 8 and left, then.
I don't know.
Oh, it is Bo. It could be Bo Block. That is a good point.
Oh, the Goma. Oh, interesting.
which neither player have arrows. Which,
Nope.
if that is the case, that is unfortunate.
It could be that room. I think there's one more possible room it could be.
Because now again, you got to track down an arrow shop, and the question is, have you been tracking where your shops are?
Yeah.
And Crimson now choosing to do the recorder screens, which he's passed quite a few of them in his trek, so going to have to do quite a bit of backtracking here in order to get to those.
Yeah. And you don't even know that. I would probably go to Death Mountain if I'm being honest. And it's just because of more concentration of guaranteed screens.
Yeah, that's what it looks like, Fred, is that the arrow, blue ring, and book are all in the rare shop, and neither have been found by, or hasn't been found by either player, rather. Crimson has passed up quite a few screens with the recorder that could be opened, and burned, I believe, one bush that's incorrect, and I hope that that doesn't end up being the screen that the rare shop is on.
Or the arrow shop, one of them.
Well, the arrow shop is the rare shop.
Is it?
That's what it's looking like, because we haven't seen arrows anywhere yet.
We haven't seen arrows, bombs, book, or blue ring. So there's 4 items that we have not seen.
Yeah, so we're just missing two shops entirely.
Yeah, which is really bad. Okay. So if
Firelight points out that we have seen bombs in the shop, which I think it was the...
Oh, 30, you're right.
Yeah, yeah, so we're missing arrows, blue ring, and book. All 3 items which you want to have, and you're going to have to pick the arrows.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. First you gotta find them, though.
And actually, that may not be true. Arrows could possibly be cheap enough, and book could possibly be cheap enough that you could pick up both, which would be fantastic.
Yeah, 60 and 190 is a possible combination.
Ooh, these screens are nasty screens. That is a horrible screen to have 6 blue Lionels on.
And imagine starting at level 6.
We've had it happen.
Yeah. Alright, so Compass is in a room. I'm willing to bet Compass is probably in the room with the Goma.
I don't know that he has whistled a single location, Bartman, that could be a location. He did, okay. So the 2 that he's done so far have been northwest or northeast of Start and in the Grave, but he hasn't done the Lost Woods one, and he hasn't done the one over by the coast. And takes a death by a pea hat. That is unfortunate.
Ouch. That's a really costly death being up in Death Mountain. You don't want to have to do that walk all over again.
Which in this case would be super awesome if you had the power bracelet, because you could just take a staircase back up there, but this is unfortunate that it turns out that there is an arrow block and that it's in the rare shop, because outside of that, all the dungeons are easy to find, but now we've got to do the long search for that one particular cave.
There is another spot that has not been checked, I think, in here, besides that one room. It's the far left bottom room on the map, and I'm wondering if I'm wondering if they're going to, if Johann's going to check this out.
Poor Crim grabs one of the 3 secrets that he found, and it turns out to be one of the large secrets.
Ouch! 2 large secrets are blocked underneath whistle spots. Interesting.
And he already had maximum rupees, but does use the whistle to get back to vanilla level 6. So that will save him some time, but this is a really bad screen. Really bad.
Johann trying to bomb right here. Cannot. That room is blocked by a Goma. So he's going to place all his hopes and dreams on that key door there, I think. And it's not. So we now know that there is an arrow block in level 7.
And it's a very good point that the rare shop could be in fact blocked by a bracelet on one of those 3 bracelet locations that are left.
Yep.
Because at this point, I'm pretty sure that it's safe to assume that the Innie roads are in their normal locations, but you still have second quest, letter, magic sword, and level 5. Which, if that's the case, that's super unfortunate for Crimson, as he would have to find the power bracelet in level 5 and then trek back to those particular locations.
Yes. It's also worth noting Johann has also not found level 3. Oh wait, did Johann find the arrow shop? Was it the key? I know there was keys in this shop here. He's being smart. Look at this. This I like.
Whistling right to 4, yeah.
He's
super
whistling
smart.
right to 4 rather than dealing. Well, 5, but he's gonna get there with the toot of. Oh, there's everything we talked about.
Nice, and he picks up the book. Very nice.
Crim, you need the arrows too.
Looks like he's gonna rupee farm.
Well,
it dies.
I'm pretty sure that the Lionel's actually Onion Knight farmed there.
However, well, this is interesting, right? So he needs arrows. He left 2 secrets up at the grave, so he could just whistle the 6, and now that he's got Boomstick, has a pretty easy way to get through. But it looks like he's probably just going to go up and scroll back and grab those 2 secrets, and then go back and pick up arrows.
Yep.
I do agree with the Boomstick purchase, though, especially since he still doesn't have bombs.
Yeah. And Johann's finding level 3, which is his last dungeon. So Johann now knows where everything is, and he knows he has to find a arrow as well. On a seat of 1 to troll, this seat is very trolly.
I'm wondering if... Is he whistling to 6? I wonder if he remembers he left secrets. Okay, yes, he does.
Okay.
Ooh, gosh, these screens are just brutal. And takes another death, unfortunately.
Lionels are stronger than the Boomstick, unfortunately. Oh, 5 or 6
ropes.
HP ropes. That's not fun.
And also one of these rooms that you don't need to clear, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. I guess he's seeing if there's anything dropping from them, but it looks like they got shuffled into a no-drop group. Oh, nope, there's a rupee.
Yeah, there's a rupee. And a bomb!
Bomb?
See, okay, so again, it looks like the Guerrilla group is heavy on the bombs. So with the shuffle in level 9 possible, at least it seems like we've got something in every group that drops a bomb, except for maybe the Dark Nut group. It might be Pole's voice in the Dark Nut group that drop bombs.
Yeah.
I would have to confirm with Fred. I don't know that every single enemy group is confirmed to have somebody that drops something. I don't know if that's a thing or not.
I'm fairly sure he said one of every group that normally would drop a bomb has a bomb drop in it.
Okay, so then in that case, it seems like it's probably Pole's voice that are the bomb droppers in the Dark Nut group.
Because otherwise you would just run into dungeons where you cannot get bombs.
Oh, man.
Poor Crim just taking death after death here, and it's setting him back.
Looks like the Lionels decided to attend the Hylian Sniper Academy this time around.
Yep. And now we have Johann not going to be wasting any more bombs because he knows how this dungeon layout looks now.
Yeah, maps are such an important thing to find in shapes, especially in like 6, 7, and 8, because you never know how many segments they're going to have or what weird configuration. I mean, you could have it as a big blot, or it could be a bunch of regular line passageways, like in Second Quest 7 and 8, where it's just you keep going straight and you go around and you waste bombs on every side of the room and just have no luck.
Yep. Krem is back in 5, it looks like.
Not necessarily a bad choice.
Well, no, he hasn't gotten the Triforce rum in here. This is his second trip back in here, but he's far more equipped than he was earlier.
Yeah, Boomstick makes this exceedingly more simple than it was.
Yes. Unfortunately, arrows are still a huge issue.
And the blue Lionel drops bombs again.
Well, that could have been a forced one.
That is true.
Stick. That is a lot of
Wow.
fairies.
Full life for Crimson. That's how you do it.
That was a lot of fairies. Johann's looking for the item. My guess is he's trying to hope for a magic key.
Yeah, which is unfortunately we know in level 8.
Yeah, I mean, you're at 6 keys though. You can go safely back into level 8 and not spend any.
Yeah, Liquid Husband, I'm pretty sure that he's been caught up by a like more than once and lost his magical shield.
Yeah. Crim picking up the Triforce in level 5, getting out of there. Now he knows he has to farm for rupees to get the arrows.
Yeah, I hope that he just goes back up by the graveyard. He passed up two money places, and he could just get it from there. I mean, at minimum, I guess it could be 1 rupee if it's the small secret, but that would be my play at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Just really unfortunate that the 1 secret he decided to check was the 100 secret.
Yeah, I mean, no way to know, unfortunately.
Yeah, it always seems like that happens to me, too. It's like, okay, I'm going to check this one. Oh, of course.
Right, it's usually, you're at like 210 rupees or something like that. And you're like, well, this could be one of the 30s, and I need a little bit more for the blue ring. I don't know, 150 rupees, and you just kind of hang your head in shame.
Just like, really? If I saved and I find that, I generally will actually restart. just not take that. Okay, there is a lot of guineas.
Let's get a fiver.
Yep, got 7 rupees off of that farm.
But yeah, I'll do the same thing. If it's not going to cost me a lot of time, and I still need to buy a few items, and I really want a blue ring because it's a tough seed, then I'll do that same type of deal.
Yep.
I don't think he remembers that he passed up 2 secrets.
I don't think so either. It's been a long seed. We're almost an hour and a half in. So.
Yeah, this has not been very friendly.
Johann picking up another key. Something to point out here is the lack of a wand has slowed him down considerably with the bubbles and not being able to kill things at a long distance.
That is very true. Hopefully he'll run into the magical sword as he has enough hearts to pick that up. And Crimson, just getting through this screen via face tanking, has plenty of hearts to do so and takes his revenge out with the wand.
While it's satisfactory to kill these things, I don't think it's necessary at this point.
Right? They do drop bombs, however. And it doesn't look like he remembers that he passed up secrets, because I believe that screen right there was a secret.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, going to lose a little bit of time here.
It wasn't this. I was like, no, I think that was Magical Sword there. Yeah, that was Magical Sword there, so...
Yeah, unfortunately, then going to be losing quite a bit of time searching around for enemies to kill to get rupees. Hopefully he could go bomb a couple of extra spots on Death Mountain and run into a secret. And not a pay door. If he runs into some pay doors, that would be really bad.
That's devastating. At this stage of the game. Oh, well, thanks, Mr. Merchant.
Super helpful. Making good use of the wand there. That actually would have opened the door if it so happened that was shuffled there. So that was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the boomstick, unless you have an enemy in place, there is... Oh, man, faced... Oh, no! Dies to a P-hat again.
P-hats are... I'm telling you, this game is full of jerks.
Yeah, assisted by the Lionels, which sucks a lot to die on Death Mountain again. But back to the point I was trying to make. The boomstick is fantastic for dungeons, but Unfortunately, you still need bombs in the overworld because the wand explosion goes to the end of the screen, and unless you have an enemy standing directly in front of where your bomb door would be, it's not going to open it for you.
No. Johann taking the second bomb upgrade, which I definitely agree with here. And finds the any key. He is a happy camper.
Yeah, it has 7 keys, but at this point, with how many keys have been required, I absolutely will pick that up. The only time I skip that is if I'm over 10 keys, and even then I usually don't, because you never know, especially in shapes with level 9, what kind of shenanigans you're going to run into.
Exactly. At this point, you just go pick up that Triforce and go from here. You haven't seen a red ring, you haven't seen silver arrows. You can assume they're in 9. Just try and go. Oh, really? He's going to look for the second item.
Yeah, unfortunately, arrows were super cheap, and Crimson has, well, actually, he didn't even, it was only 60. 60 rupees is the minimum that arrows can be, which is super nice. So it turns out that he's got his arrows and is on his way back to level 7 to get the Triforce there. We can only hope that level 9 is kind to these players, because so far this seed has been extremely unfriendly.
Yes. What oh, interesting. Okay.
And picking up the shield is Johann, so he'll have that going into level 9, which again, we don't know the enemy set in there, but it's
he's got to go back to 7 first.
Well, he does have to go, right. Which, hopefully he won't. I don't think there's legs in 7, so he shouldn't lose his shield. But
he shouldn't lose his shield. However, he does need to find arrows.
Right, which that's a time-consuming endeavor. I mean, luckily it's not deep in Death Mountain, but it just depends on where he chooses to go first. He does, however, have 15 bombs to work with, so he's got plenty. And does have the money as well. Doesn't have the wand, so he's not going to be tempted by the book.
That is true. Okay. Yeah, I think right now Johann's looking to see if he needs if he's run into an arrow shop. I believe so, Tetrally. There's one spot that they could not get to, and they know it's blocked by the Goma.
Yeah, my assumption is that he's taken a pretty good long hard look at his tracker to figure out if there's been an arrow shop and where he has and has not been.
Yeah, that would be my guess too, is he's just trying to figure out where he needs to go.
This would be the point where I'd be saying game please, and gets sorted directly.
What a jerk!
Like sorted in, he gets a secret out of it, but like, dang.
What a
picking up
joy.
the final Triforce and will make his way to level 9. I'm pretty sure he remembers what that is. We will get to see whether or not Ganon's required. We may need to have the great search for silver arrows still to go. So
yeah. So Johann actually whistling correctly to 6 here. And if he does the west side first, which would make more sense. Oh, he's gonna get a magical sword.
We'll get magical sword, which will be awesome. Always nice to find that.
So normally you would want to whistle to 4, but this Lionel screen can be just nasty, and he successfully... Oh, woo, interesting. An up A from...
Maybe he thinks that doing Dead Woods is... I'm not sure what he's doing, actually.
I would... If I'm up there and I haven't explored any of it, I'm going to check it.
Oh, I fully agree. I wonder what's going through his mind right now. It might be to check Dead Woods. I don't know that he's done Dead Woods yet, and maybe doesn't want to waste bombs.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Or I'm not sure.
Oh, he's looking for...
Oh, he has... Yeah, okay. Maybe he thinks that silvers might be the free item.
It's liquid. It's force. You have to get the arrow. You have to get the Triforce. You have to get all 8 pieces. So Crim is just boomsticking around in 9, trying to find a path Zelda. Chances are she's in her own room. We have not seen a Ganon room or a Zelda room outside of 9.
Indeed, and good to note that it is the Guerrilla set, so Boomstick, while nice for bombing walls, is actually not going to be huge as far as combat goes. Interesting note about the Zelda Ganon rooms, however, is I was doing, I played or watched a seed, I don't remember, that Ganon was actually in his room, but Zelda was not. I think it was a seed I played last night, where Ganon was actually in his room, but Zelda was in a desert room, which is really low odds, but...
Yeah, that is actually really low. And not having a map also really deep. Okay, so he's back at level...
Ugh. The screen is so bad.
Just run! Run, Johann, run! It's the Lurgoyf!
Make a good work of that shield, though. Blocked a few of the swords there.
Take Any Roads are where we thought they were, so he's probably just going to pass on those and just bomb Death Mountain.
Yeah, but back to, I believe what your point was, is that with shapes and no maps, level 9 is no fun.
No, having Boomstick is a huge boon with shapes, which is why I love having Boomstick on when I do swordless no shapes. It makes it a lot easier. Picking up medicine, I would have actually bought the 220s, but at this point, I guess it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, when he finds... it's just one of those things that when you find that bookshop, you're going to be real sad.
Oh, yeah. Especially because you know you could have traded a heart container for...
Oh, that's the worst.
A potion.
And I'm not talking about bratwurst. That is just bad.
Yeah.
I've had that happen, and I'm just like, really, game? I don't want the heart. I don't need it.
I don't want the potion because I just bought one. But he will find the shop if he continues along this way, and he will definitely be picking up the arrows since he can't afford the boomstick now.
Yeah, I mean, he'll have a little bit more trouble in 9 as far as clearing out rooms without the boomstick, but this is still anybody's game if he finds the arrows quickly.
See, I would always check the bottom first, rather than go up top. Oh, Patra being a jerk. My usual... He is skipping that... Oh, he's forcing the P-hats to a different side.
Getting rid of the P-hat jerks would have been a little bit mean this seed.
Yeah, you have to buy the arrows.
Wait! I want all 3 of those!
Yep. Yeah, but in that situation, you absolutely have to buy the arrows because you only have 1 Triforce left, and you know it's blocked.
Indeed.
So
he's going to make his way.
2 or 8 is the best choice here, and he whistles to 8. Johann is much better at whistling than I am. I do the J. Coper patented, proven method of whistling. I blow it till I get there.
Yeah. And it can be difficult. It depends, you know. You don't know where you... Especially on second quest and mixed quest. Mixed quest especially when you're trying to find those particular screens where the whistle was used.
Finding a compass.
Ooh, that's a big deal.
It is. Potentially 2 rooms away. Potentially 1 room away. We will see if it's a shutter or a key or open. It is a key door. Krim is going to win this. And she's in her room. Krim coming in at 138.11.
Yeah, according to Racebot, 138.15. So very good time. I mean, this seed was not nice, and finding Zelda like that is always a fantastic feeling at the end of a seed like this. So congratulations to CrimsonAvix. Very well done by him.
Very well played by both these. This is just not... This is the kind of seed that you just want to not have to deal with at all.
Yeah, I mean, the real stickler here was the arrow block, right? You spend all this time in 7 looking for a Triforce just to find... And they didn't find a compass either. I don't know that either of them found a compass.
Compass, I believe, was blocked by the other Goma.
Yeah, so... I mean, what can you do in that case? And so you full clear the dungeon, and turns out you need arrows, and it's in the rare shop.
And then you don't have the money.
And then you don't have the... Well, had the money, but chose to buy the boomstick.
Which is a good choice. Honestly,
I agree.
Especially when you have 200 plus rupees. Yeah, fake meat and 7. Off by 1 whistle there.
But yeah, we're gonna have Johann make his way into 9 now, and hopefully it'll be as easy of a go as it was for Crimson. Not having to search for the arrows and not having to search for Ganon is always extremely nice.
Yes. And Johann's going to be extremely helped by the Magic Sword and non-Wizrobe 9.
Yeah, not having Wizrobes is always makes 9 infinitely easier.
Yeah, no boomsticking for Johann, but again, he has a max capacity of 16 bombs. It's not nearly as big of a deal as it would be if he'd only had 8.
Howdy.
Hi!
Hey Crimson, how you doing, sir?
Congrats, Crim.
Wow, what a seed.
Yeah, how about that bow block in level 7?
The fact that the bow was in the rare shop, and then I stupidly, for some reason, lost concentration and decided to grab book because I was so mad about my bomb issues. So I had to go on a rupee hunt just to get the rupees to go back up there, and yeah.
Well, I
Wow.
kind of wondered if that was calculated because you had left 2 secrets behind in the grave. One was in level 6, and the other was in the bomb spot just south of the power bracelet. I thought you might go back to there to pick up some rupees, but you walked by both caves a couple of times.
Honestly, I didn't even mark which caves I was skipping, so I completely forgot where my secrets were and everything else. And by that time, I'm like, you know what, it's just easier to grind rupees rather than go back and try to find which cave I missed. So
There's the silvers.
Yeah, Johann finding the silvers, which could actually end up being, if he goes for a Ganon hunt, could be a bad thing. But
yeah,
fortunately for you, I mean, level 9 open Zelda is always nice, especially at the end of a seed like this, where it's been, it wasn't a horrible HP shuffle, but it just seemed like some of the dungeons were giving you a really tough time.
The
yeah,
dark nuts in
yeah.
7.
I was a little preoccupied with other stuff going on too. But no, I mean, my combat was just poor tonight. There's no other way to put it, and just getting frustrated because, like, I knew after doing all that in 7, I'm like, I am arrow blocked, so I knew I had to go find arrows, which I haven't seen yet, and I already cleared most of the overworld, and I realized, well, we had a mixed quest overworld, so that was even more spots I had to check.
Yeah.
And I was kind of hoping that I didn't have to go back into 5 to dig for the power bracelet to look for everything else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, indeed, and you were like, you were pointing out you had some bomb issues, and as far as like what we saw that dropped bombs, it was ropes, blue landmolas, tektites, I think blue Lionels. It was a really odd group of things that dropped bombs this time around, and making it really difficult to actually maintain your bomb counts.
Yeah, and not only that, I swear, just me personally, I always have bomb issues whenever I play, and I should work my bomb counts better, but I'm so aggressive with my combat, I normally don't allow myself to get to account to force bombs, so that's why I really don't. But there's a couple times that I should have went through and forced the bomb instead of.
Yeah,
playing the way I
unfortunately, in
did.
shapes, your bomb count matters a lot more
Yeah.
than what it would normally matter, and it's something that players are going to have to adjust to and work on for sure. Is forcing a better bomb count, understanding where they are on global counters as well when drops are shuffled.
Yeah. Yeah, the shuffling of drops, just because, like, outside of like the ropes and the tektites, as you said, I couldn't remember which enemies were dropping and which ones weren't. So, yeah, it was quite bizarre. And I mean, there were a few things that were really nice about the seed. One of the things that I noticed after my second or third dungeon is that even though the dungeon shapes were shuffled and the dungeon numbers weren't at the top, the dungeon colors weren't shuffled. So the palettes were the same, so I was able to kind of figure out which dungeon was which.
Yep.
Which really helped me out in searching for the item in 2, which, early ladder is always nice.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, having the non-shuffled palettes is, like you were saying, super important, especially for this type of thing where you're not getting information, and that's the only way to glean it outside of the Triforce. So, good on you to pick up on that particular thing, and also having non-shuffled drops and having Triforces in their original rooms was pretty nice, considering the other difficulties that this seed presented itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the fake meat requirement was cute.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's originally what I thought it was, and I'm like, great. So I knew when I ran into the shop, I'm like, okay, well, I'll pick up meat because more than likely that's run blocked. And when I bombed behind it, I'm like, all right, so that's what it is. So that was possibly a hang up, and then I get all the way to the end, and I'm like, you're joking.
It turns out it's the other item you haven't got yet.
Yep.
And then bow in 6, which had the raft required, was kind of nice too.
Yeah, Johann had
I went into
well
6 just hope. Yeah, I went into 6, and when I, pretty much full cleared 6, I went back in and I'm like, I just hope this is the bow so I don't have to search 5.
Yeah, it made sense because you only had a few spots left to check.
Yeah, but I mean, it was definitely a fun seed. I mean, it's not very often that you get a seed where the biggest holdup is finding the rare shop.
Oh well,
and Ganon's in his room.
Well, we'd assume that after seeing Zelda.
Oh, okay, I guess Zelda was in her room that time. Yeah, I just man, Ganon's always in his room.
Oh,
what?
No. Well, Ganon's just got easier.
Yeah.
I think he's
actually
really
fighting Ganon then
too.
Yeah.
So I think he's actually Johann's really close to Zelda.
Yeah.
He just needs to get to the left a little bit, and I don't know that you can bomb over there, but I guess we'll find out soon.
Yeah. I mean, we know that Zelda was in her own room, so.
But yeah, overall, this seed has been a stark, and we haven't had a lot of seeds so far, but a stark contrast in comparison to the majority of the Swiss seeds that I've played overall myself. Like, there has been a lot of flags selected in this particular seed that aren't normally on.
Yeah, and I mean, it's entertaining. It's nice to see the ones that, really make the runners think and everything. I mean, this one definitely threw me for a loop, even though I know what to expect in a lot of these randomizers.
Yeah, it's definitely different.
Yeah, and it's... Well, apparently TGE tastes like a frozen crimsicle. Who knew?
Who knew, indeed. And it looks like if you go up here, he's going to find Zelda.
Yeah, I think Johann just did. Yep, Johann will finish as well with a time of 1:47.47.
Yeah, congratulations to him finishing out. Very strong finish. Again, it came down to a few little things. A lot of it was that bow block and trying to find the arrows.
There's just so much in that seed was just awful.
Right, and on Johann's end, what actually ended up costing him a lot of time finishing out, ran out of very strong finish. Again, it was just a ladder. It came down to so he never found the magic. A lot of it was he went and bought block and keys, maybe 3 keys at one point. It just had a lot of problems with maintaining keys because 8 was super key intensive.
I actually thought I was doing fairly well because until I had to go buy the arrows, I never had to go up to Death Mountain.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Is that that's the only place that nobody's been, and then you end up having to get those arrows. But you ran into some key problems there in 8, which cost you a little bit of time because you had to go back out and buy some keys.
This is my first time doing shapes, by the way.
Then you did fantastic.
Yep, for sure. Shapes can throw everybody.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, the window that you saw that I opened over the emulator early in the race was me trying to reopen my tracker because I realized I was on second quest Overworld. Then I realized later it was mixed quest.
Yeah, Mixed Quest Overworld was very interesting because we actually saw it was Mixed Quest because both of you did something at the same time. Either Krim or you bombed the spot north of. I think it was you, Johan, who bombed north of Start, and then Krim bombed Heart Rock. One opened, one didn't. So that just and it normally would be reversed for either one. So the north of Start didn't open, and then Heart Rock opened. So you knew it was mixed from there. We knew it was mixed from there.
So I did a preparatory race for this before, like not a race, but just myself messing around. I'd never done random percent before. And in my practice, I did not get shapes. And I think there was something else that made it really easy. Overworld monsters were not randomized. There was a whole bunch of stuff that wasn't randomized. I was like, this is a terrible preparation.
Oh, it can go any which direction. Unfortunately, it's just it can either be, hey, this is a 28-minute seed, or hey, this is an hour and a half of, please, dear goodness, just let me finish this.
Yeah. It seems like it's just really hard to practice these flags as far as a play standpoint. A lot of what these flags are about, at least in my opinion, and this is my opinion, is understanding what the flags do, and that is the best way to prep for these particular matches, is to understand what each flag individually looks like and how it can affect your seed. Because with as many different combinations as there is, it's not like the last tournament where you can go practice like the Tumult set, which was what the tournament was in the first round, and you've got the same set of factors. You've always got a white sword available, and you've always got this, and you've always got that. It's just really hard with the vast amount of variance available in these flags to practice on these flags. And so yeah, I mean, understanding that, for instance, like shuffle dungeon drops was off, which is what happens when the Triforce is in this room. You never have to go through, and you never have to fight a room for a Triforce, which is a super great feeling to have. And if you could recognize that, then you can, if you're in that point where you don't need an item anymore, you can just get into go mode and just blaze through dungeons.
Well, one of the things that really helped for random percent was that even though I've only done 15, maybe 20 races of randomizer period and never done shapes before and never done a second quest randomizer before, I have watched a lot of people do randomizer, a lot, even including random percent, and I have run both first and second quests, kind of a homebrew route. So I am very familiar with both overworlds. So I was able, once I knew it was mixed overworld, I was like, okay, this could be awful, but at least I know what I'll be missing.
Yes.
Indeed, yeah.
For sure.
That arrow hunt killed me, though. I could have done a lot better if I had. I may have been able to win the race if I had not missed the arrows. But I had not found an arrow shop by that point.
That was the only one?
It was the only one in the seed?
Yes, because it had the book in it.
Yeah, that turns out the rare shop was Blue Ring Book arrows, which all three are items that you want.
Yeah, With how many enemies had low health here, I wasn't too worried about a ring. But the arrows were a huge problem. I didn't realize it was Boomstick Seed.
Yeah, when you see a book in a shop, or if you see a shield in a dungeon, then you know it's a Boomstick Seed.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind for the future. I didn't know that. But one thing that threw me, and I should pay more attention to my inventory, is I didn't realize that what I was missing were the arrows and not the bow, which is why you saw me hunting around for Armos items. Because I knew I'd gotten all the dungeon items, and I was like, well, I haven't found the Armos item yet, so I checked the 2 remaining spots for the Armos items. Then I realized, okay, it's arrows.
Then you have to hunt down the arrow shop.
Yeah. It was a little unfortunate that you died on that wand screen too. The wand, Crimson got that a little bit early, and it helped a little bit with the Dark Nut combat dungeons. But
well, I got the white sword very early as well.
You did, yes. You got that. Probably a good 20 minutes earlier than Crimson did. But I mean, fantastic run by you, especially if you're saying that you haven't done a whole lot of these Swiss flags. It's this was a difficult combination of flags, and you played incredibly well.
The one thing I was terrified of in this whole race was, as soon as I knew it was mixed overworld, I was wondering if it was mixed dungeons or something like that. Because it was shapes, I didn't know which dungeon set it could be. I suppose no push walls could have tipped me off. But what I was scared of was having one item in dungeon 1 because I didn't know which dungeon was which. And I was 2 items in some other dungeon.
Yeah, you will actually not have to worry about second quest dungeons themselves, the layouts, in the Swiss rounds. It's going to be first quest.
Yeah, I didn't look. I should have looked a little closer at the randomizer window and see what was possible.
Yeah, the dungeon quests, the dungeons are always going to be first quest. So you will always have 2 items in 1, floor item in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 2 and 8, 2 and 9.
Well, I learned a lot in this race. I learned probably more than any other randomizer race I've ever done. This threw me a lot of curveballs.
Oh, I can definitely see that. Again, great time for what ultimately turned out to be a really awful seed.
Was it?
Yeah,
like, apart from the arrows.
It is just not
the
fun.
Goma block. Well, the Goma block in what dungeon was that? Like
7.
4? No, it wasn't. Okay, 7. That was a little bit brutal. But apart from that, it wasn't bad. The enemy health was low, like I said. The overworld was rather forgiving. Death Mountain, apart from the arrows, was not required.
Yeah, you just had level 3 on the east side and then the arrows on the west side. I think keys were a huge issue in this one.
I agree.
Especially in 8. 8 just was such a key hog.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I bought 2 keys. I heard you mentioning that when I got in. I bought 2 keys at once, and that was the only time I bought keys. I used all the money I could on keys because like this is going to be awful because I've seen key doors everywhere, and I haven't unlocked a lot lot of them.
Yeah,
at that point, I didn't really need much in the way of items.
Yeah, no, that was actually 100% a good call to buy those keys there.
But
the last race I did, the last tournament, I actually haven't played Randomizer since the last tournament, and the last race that I had there that I lost and was eliminated. My biggest mistake in that race was staying far too long in Dungeon 3, which turned out to be a brutal enemy seed. And I should have left, gotten upgrades, and come back. And that was the criticism I received from the commentators post-race. And I took that to heart this time. So when I didn't know there were shapes yet, and I saw a dungeon that looked like 7 to me, I immediately ducked out.
Yeah, an important, just for your reference, in this particular seed, the start rooms were shuffled, so you couldn't tell what dungeon you were in, and you had shapes, but the palettes were actually not shuffled. So I
forget why I thought it was 7. I think I didn't know it was shapes yet, and that was why I thought it was 7. And it turned out to be like, it was a gray one. I think it was the one over by. It was the first one I found. It was the one that's potion
level 8.
Level 8.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's just one thing that you could keep in mind is that the palettes have a 50% chance to be shuffled, and if they're not, you can always identify the levels by at least the ones that don't share colors by their color.
And then if you see a single palette that doesn't exist in the vanilla game, then you know you're in randomized.
Absolutely, and you will never have, at least in the Swiss seeds, you'll never, like Panzer was saying, you'll never have second quest dungeon shapes. But on top of that, you will never have second quest rooms or second quest doors. So there will never be walkthrough doors, and there will never be any of those second quest specific rooms or push blocks for staircases.
I know in a later round, the second quest stuff is getting added in.
That is correct. It will be available as starting in the elimination round. I'm pretty sure that the dungeon quest goes to random, and all of those other functions are added.
I'm actually excited to do second quest dungeon stuff in a randomizer setting. I've never tried that before.
I have not either. I am a newbie when it comes to second quest, and that'll be something that I will be practicing fairly hard because I do not know second quest dungeons as well as I should, for sure.
Yeah. Well, randomized dungeons, I obviously don't know at all, but regular dungeons, I've actually, like I said, done speedruns of second quest, and one of my favorite things to watch is, as far as Zelda goes, is people doing first time through second quest without guides. I saw Spike, Vegeta, and Pi do that at one point. That was hilarious.
Oh.
The trap room in 4, when you walk left and you're stuck.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a fun room.
Yeah.
No, but for not doing shapes, Johan, you did really well. Crim, for knowing what everything was going on, you guys did amazing. There's just that scene probably would have just frustrated the living daylights out of me, and I just probably would have been baby raging the entire game. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, the arrow block would have frustrated me a little bit for sure.
And the fake meat block.
Oh, that was wonderful. Did you notice the old man trying to steal your life or keys at the dead end?
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's great.
It's like, there's totally a room to the side here. You totally haven't found the map yet.
Yep.
Yeah, I gotta say that there was a few times that Putz might as well have been playing my seed because of how I found it.
Mhm. I'm
So,
telling you,
Crimson,
that
did
was an
you-
insult.
Did you have the map? Did you find the old man at the dead end with that wanted life or money or keys?
Yeah, I
And
immediately
Did
just
you
left
have the
him.
map? Okay.
I had the map at that point, so
But yeah, I mean, one last point to go with like the second quest logic for those who may not know is that if you do get second quest and shapes like the shapes and they have second quest stuff on, it will follow the same logic in the dungeons as in second quest. So you will never have a walkthrough wall in a dungeon that does not normally have a walkthrough wall.
Yeah, so like level 1 never has a walkthrough wall, level 3 never has a walkthrough wall.
Okay, so the doors can't swap between dungeons.
No.
That's good to know.
Wow. Reading chat here.
Indeed, canceled.
Canceled. Yeah, sorry, BT. Lack of interest.
You mean the post race was canceled?
Now we're just
Burn.
canceling BT's race in just overall.
The bird. The bird. You want some baking soda for that burn there, BT?
Yeah.
You want some? That'll be a good race as well.
Well.
Thank you guys so much for that wonderful race and keeping us entertained. And thank you for surviving that horrible seed.
Yeah, it was a little bit brutal.
Yeah, good game, Crimson. Looking forward to the next round.
yeah, good game, and thanks Adaginos and Dave and Jam for putting this on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, guys, for racing. I think
Take care.
we've got